Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This week, I conclude my series on the Races of AD&D 2nd Edition Spelljammer by talking about probably the most powerful race overall in the setting. The race that underlies the function of how you get about. The race that monopolizes the production of many of the different helms for ships. This week, I talk about the Arcane. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as I talk about the Ship Salesman of Space. Arcane look to be tall, 12-foot tall, in fact, on average, blue-skinned humanoids with elongated faces. They kind of look like the Moai statues on Easter Island, if you were to really look for something that resembles them in terms of their faces. And their hands are long, with an extra knuckle. An extra joint on the fingers. So while we have 2 joints, they have 3 on their long fingers. They typically dress in robes, though a few dress in a armor that's made out of chain mail with splotches of plate over more vital areas. But those are rare. The Arcane, in fact, don't try to fight people. Their natural abilities, they have 3. The first is that they can become invisible, up to 3 times a day. The second is that they can dimension door, up to 3 times a day. The third is the one that gets people in trouble. The Arcane have a special form of racial telepathy. What this means is, if you hurt or kill an Arcane, every other Arcane knows who you are. This is a very, very good reason to not hurt or mess with an Arcane. Because the Arcane are everywhere. And they won't try to kill you or hurt you if you hurt one of their own. They just won't deal with you until you make restitution. Whatever they decide that restitution is. Now you're wondering, why does it matter whether the Arcane will deal with you or not? Well, it's because in Spelljammer, if you want a new ship, you're going to be going to the Arcane. If you want repairs to your ship, unless you have contacts with certain very powerful organizations, like the Elven Imperial Fleet, the Shao Empire on Toril, several pirate bands out there, you're going to need to go to the Arcane. If you want any extensive modifications done to your ship, you're going to go to the Arcane. The Arcane, first and foremost, have a monopoly on the fabrication of one extremely important piece of equipment for your ship. Whether you use a minor helm, a major helm, a life jammer, a death jammer, which are really, really rare, you are most likely having it made by the Arcane. Even lesser helms like Furnace Helms, where you put a magical item in it and it consumes the item but gives you speed and spelljamming capability, are made by the Arcane. The only helms, in fact, that are not made by the Arcane are the Keel of Propulsion and Key helms made by the Shaolong Empire on Toril, the Dwarven Forge helms, but they still have to get parts for them from the Arcane, or the Gnomish helms, which often actually have a salvaged minor or major helm sitting somewhere in the heart of them. But that's neither here nor there. Now, those are the main ones. There are some others out there that aren't made by the Arcane, but they're not that common. Things like the Artifurnace helm, or the ultimate helms that the Spelljammer distributes across space, or the unique helm on the Bat ship out in realm space. These are special. These are unique, nearly artifact level helms. And they're not made by the Arcane. But the Arcane are the predominant makers of the permanent helms. And they're cunning. They'll have people place in dungeons chests with a scroll with simple instructions on it. Go find a ship of under a certain tonnage. Find a chair on that ship. Securely mount the chair to the deck of the ship. Read this scroll. Bam! You now have a temporary major or minor helm. And then there'll be some other spell in there that's going to direct you to the nearest arcane trading post. And once you get to said trading post, you're going to deal with the Arcane. Because you know what? You're going to want to get back home, most likely. Or maybe you're going to want to go exploring in space. A bit more than you already had. But here's the thing. The scrolls of Create Helm are temporary. And you are going to have to buy a permanent helm from the Arcane. Now, what do the Arcane accept payment in? Well, the Arcane will accept payment in gold. They prefer payment in magical items, however. And what do they do with these magical items? They turn around and sell them. And that's kind of the Arcane's modus operandi. They are dealers in magical items. Now, in a civilized section of space, if you are actually looking for an Arcane, there is a cumulative 10% chance per day that you will find one. Some regions of space, it's quicker to find one. Some regions, it's slower to find one. But it's more, the Arcane finds you. You start looking around. Their network of connections finds out and it filters back to them. And then the arcane pops up in their tweed suit, in their robes and all that, and goes, "Hello, would you like to make a deal? I've got so much to sell you." And now the arcane do have fairly high prices, but they are consistent across wild space. What you pay for a minor helm in realm space, you'll pay on the Rock of Brawl, you'll pay anywhere across the Spelljammer setting if you're paying with an arcane. And that's one good thing. Yeah, their prices might be high, sometimes extortionate, but they're consistent. You know what you're going to get. Versus dealing with merchants who've scavenged a helm or scavenged a ship and are selling it used in Waterdeep or used on the Rock of Brawl, which, by the way, can kind of get on the arcane's nerves. That last one. And this is the big thing you have to understand about the arcane. They want to make their profit. And they have connections. If you really tick off an arcane... No, the arcane aren't going to send anyone after you. There are people who are going to go after you because it will make the arcane feel better about them. And it might get them a discount. And believe me, getting a discount on from something the arcane are selling is a big deal. You might only get a 1% discount, but that's saving a few thousand gold pieces of value. And the other fun fact about the arcane is they don't care who you are. They will sell to a black-hearted pirate as easily as they will sell to a paladin. The only things they ask are that you be polite, that you do not threaten, and you do not try to blackmail them. Now, how do the arcane keep their monopoly on the production of major and minor helms? Viciously. It's a well-known secret that anyone who's getting too close to figuring out how to make the permanent ship helms disappears. People who develop new types of ship helms, well, accidents happen. And that's kind of what goes on with the arcane. They're not nice. They have their monopoly, and they will do whatever it takes to keep it. Although, you can never truly pin that it was an arcane that caused it. Because, well, accidents happen. And if you disappear, no body, no crime. Maybe you just got on a ship and went somewhere. Can you prove they didn't? And when the arcane makes someone disappear without a trace, they make them disappear without a trace. And that This is the Arcane, and this concludes my series on the Races of AD&D 2nd Edition, Spelljammer Races. For now, there are a lot of races I didn't cover, just because I wanted to keep this series from getting too long. I want to talk about other topics. I do plan to eventually revisit this, but this ends the series. Next week, I will be doing a Tales from the Archive, and then after that, I will have a new topic. So until my next video, I'd like you all to remember to have fun and keep gaming.